Okay, morning everybody. Welcome to this executive meeting at West Yorkshire Fire Authority. My name's Councillor O'Donovan, the chair of this committee. Got one substantive item agenda today. If I could just ask that everybody mutes their microphones. We are running slightly late, so apologies to the public if you're watching, apologies to us. We have some technical issues again today beyond our control. So I'm going to go straight into the agenda because there is another meeting coming after this one. Item number one, we have the minutes of the last meeting held on the 3rd of August that are enclosed. And then item two, any matters arising from those minutes. Any questions or comments? Quite happy with those. Item three, urgent items. There is no urgent items here today. Item four, admissions of the public. The item on today's agenda is for the public, is for public disclosure. Item number five, if anybody has any declarations of interest to declare, please do so. Any official apologies, Jick, to note?
No, we don't have any apologies.
No, okay. So as it is at the moment, I believe it's just Councillor Sunderland that is non-contactable and isn't in this meeting at the moment, but no apologies.
Good morning, Committee Services.
I can hear somebody on the phone. If we could just mute microphones again. All seems quiet, so I'll move on to item number 6, which is for decision, the Firefighters Pension Scheme consultation response that we'll find on page 9 in your agenda packs. And is it Claire that's going to take this item for us?
If I just introduce this and explain the background, if that's okay. Chair, this is a response to a consultation regarding the changes to the firefighters pension scheme that were made in 2014 and 15 that were subsequently deemed unlawful. So the consultation is inviting responses to the suggested remedy that's been put forward by the government, and clearly this is a very technical issue, so we've taken the liberty of drafting a potential response on behalf of members. But because it is so technical, I've invited our pensions manager Claire Johnson onto the call this morning. So rather than go through the responses in detail, what I'd suggest, Chair, is that we set out the responses for your consideration, but between Claire, John or I, we'd be very happy to take any questions from members on the suggested response.
Thanks, Ian. Sorry, and anything to add, Claire, as just somebody just to set the scene on what you're asking us to do?
Yeah, so can you hear me okay, first of all?
That's fine.
Okay, fantastic. So yes, as Ian's already introduced, the consultation was launched back in July and actually closes on Sunday. In total, there are 24 questions which have been responded to in Appendix 1. In terms of the questions, they focus on a variety of things. The main issue of the consultation is to look at the proposals for either immediate choice, whereby a firefighter would have immediately after the 1st of April 2022, then make a decision about their legacy benefits, or a deferred choice underpin. Also within the questions, it does focus on separate technical aspects, such as how we would treat divorce calculations, transfers, etc. Other than that, I've got nothing else to add.
Okay, so if I just clarify for members before we bring any questions in, so we've been asked to approve those responses to those questions. And I think the main item to take there is that the recommended choice is the DCU, the deferred choice underpin, where all members will be returned to the legacy scheme at the 1st of April 2022, and a member can make a choice to retire whether they wish to choose those benefits. And so we've been asked to support those comments and also to accept that recommendation of the DCU option. Is there any questions or comments from members, just for any clarity? By raise of hand. Councillor Harrand.
Thanks, Chair. On page 12, item 3.4, there's a mention of £2 million liability for injury to feelings. Is that just West Yorkshire? That's not nationally, is it? That's £2 million for us.
That's correct, yes, Councillor.
Gosh, and that would be a one-off, would it?
It might be helpful if I try and help out with that. The injury to feelings claims are unpredictable at this stage. Injury to feelings normally follow any discrimination claim in a tribunal, and there are certain ranges which a tribunal will award per individual, and it can range from the lower end, which is usually about £5,000 per individual, to the higher end, which could be upwards of £50,000 per individual. And in essence, it's a compensation payment for the distress caused. So at this moment in time, the FBU and the other trade unions are making a case for an injury to feelings claim. I think most of us would think that the injury to feelings claim is likely to be a nominal figure at this stage, but clearly we can't predict that, and it is a significant additional burden that will fall on employers unless, of course, the government compensates us for the cost of that.
Thank you. I don't know how we budget for that, do we? I mean, we can't put a figure in there, can we? On the next paragraph, very good.
No, I was just going to say it's a prudent forecast at this stage, Councillor Harron. That's as good as we can do.
We haven't got a provision for that in the accounts yet, have we?
I'd have to defer to Alison on that. I think she's not on the call this morning, but Alison is fully aware of the costs that are potentially arising from this. But I think our position all along has been that we will seek government funding for any costs arising from this, because clearly it's a situation not of our making.
And can you just, second question is on the next paragraph on page 13 at the top there. Reading the document, I got the impression that the additional administration would be a good deal more than we accommodate from current resources. Clear my mind on that. We'll need somebody extra, surely, won't we? For all these hundreds and hundreds of individual cases.
Yeah, we're currently looking into what our payroll system can and can't do. There's potential that we can configure the payroll system to make that a little bit more seamless to be able to extract the information. But I do expect that I will need an additional two full-time resources for at least a 12-month period to help.
And are they already budgeted for? Is that what that second sentence means? They can either be met from current budgets or the reserve, with the funds available for them already, have we?
I'd have to defer to Ian for a response there.
Chair, if I can help again, I think Alison is aware of the provisional of the potential for additional costs, and we clearly need to give Claire the support she needs to make sure we disregard the remedy is effective. So I think Alison has made provision for that within our reserves currently. But again, I go back to what I said originally. We would try to seek costs from central government to fund any additional resources that are required for us to put this right. But clearly that's not certain at this stage.
Thank you. And a final question, Chair, please. Have we discussed our responses with other authorities? Have we talked to South Yorkshire or Greater Manchester? And are we substantially in tune with what they're saying?
To my knowledge, Councillor, not every authority will be submitting a response. I've spoken to my colleagues at South Yorkshire and I understand that they won't be responding to the consultation. I've also been discussing my responses with North Yorkshire and Humberside, and they will be submitting responses. However, some of the questions that they have answered do differ slightly to the way that we've answered them as an authority.
Again, can I just add to that slightly, Councillor Harron? Claire, haven't you also been in discussion with the LGA and taken account of their comments in forming our responses?
That's correct, yes, and our responses do mirror the LGA's responses.
Thank you, that's reassuring. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Councillor Harron. So we're going to bring in Councillor Graham in. If that can be facilitated.
Okay. Can you hear me, Chair?
Yes, we can hear you.
On the question of the viability of what we've been discussing here as regarding the pensions, the contribution rate of 9% increase has a big effect on the pension contributions. This situation then goes to the McLeod Sargent case, and it's been agreed that the past service cost, which has been spread over 22 years, affects us. And I'm concerned about the amount of money that we will pay as a combined authorities as regarding this. So there's a question there. The 9%, it goes back over 22 years for past service costs as well. Are we covered for that particular past service cost? I'm sorry for this situation.
That's okay, Councillor Graham. I think we got that. So I think it was a comment and a question. Councillor Graham's asking historical backdating of claims, I suppose, really, because there's a reference in the papers there to a 10 million, a potential 10 million need that's been calculated. Do you want to refer to that one forward as Claire, Ian?
Yeah, no, that's correct. So the remedy period is from the 1st of April 2015 to the 31st of March 2022. So we're talking about a 7-year period there. And that is where there would have to be the cost uplift because of the difference in contributions. As the paper goes on to add, the contributions in the 15 scheme are 28.8%, whereas in the 1992 scheme, it's 37.3%. So once the remedy period is ended, everybody will be moving onto the lower cost scheme, which is the 2015 scheme at 28.8%.
Okay.
However, as Alison has gone on to say in the financial implications, she does expect the backdating of the cost to be in the region of £10 million to cover the 7-year period.
Can I just?
Thank you for that, Councillor Graham.
The reason why I brought the combined authority into this discussion is because it affects all public service pension contributors as well. That's why I brought it in, Chair.
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, Councillor Graham. Yeah, indeed, Councillor Graham's right. This doesn't affect fire authorities. This affects local authorities, our local councils as well. I'm just checking if there's any other comments or questions to be made. Conscious of the time also. So I think, yeah, just to summarise, I'm pleased to see that this is potentially now going to be remedied, and they've proven that there was age discrimination back in 2015 with the new government pension scheme. It will potentially cost considerable millions of pounds, up to around £10 million to remedy this. And yeah, I think certainly the mood here is that the government should be footing the whole entirety of those claims from beginning to end. And I'd also like to think, given that we need 1-2 administrative staff to support this, even though it may well be added into a service support reserve line somewhere in the budget, that's not something that we really should have to fund ourselves. I think the government should also fund the administrative support to get through this backlog as well, because we've got quite an infrastructure at West Yorkshire Fire, and although this was anticipated as a legal challenge, if it wasn't for that and this pension change didn't come to be, then we would never have needed these 2 members of staff. So I'd like to think the government would also foot the bill for support staff to administer this and administer it properly. So if there's no more comments, we will accept, recommend the responses to the consultation that are within the report, and choose option 2, the DCU, the DCU method, and you can now take that consultation back to government. I think is it by the 11th of October it's got to be back?
That's correct, yes, Chair.
Yeah.
I'll second that, Councillor Donovan.
Oh, Councillor Tully, sorry, did you have a comment? I didn't see your hand.
No, I just said I second what you just suggested to the meeting, and we need to move this on. The blame lies quite clearly with the government. They were the people that interfered in the first place. They've been found wanting, and it's obviously their responsibility to pick up the costs. Had the judgment gone the other way, well, they'd have washed their hands of it. And it does affect all across our local authorities as well. My local pension scheme in my last local authority has written to me about the McLeod Sergeant case now, and about how my pension was cobbled together a couple of years ago. So it does affect everybody across. But in taking on what's been said today, I think we need to move forward with the option of the DCU.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Councillor Tate, did you have your
Yes.
The real life hand, wasn't it?
Yes. I totally agree. We do need to accept it and move on, and there's hopefully the government are going to accept liability for this decision made. But I just wanted to ask a question regarding what kind of figures are there potentially behind the potential retirees that might retire earlier than planned, and it's mentioned about you're bringing forward some recruitment to try and help compensate for that, but is there an idea of potential figures that we're anticipating?
Chair, maybe I can respond to that. We have done an initial forecast, and it is really difficult to predict because we're not entirely sure how many firefighters might opt to retire earlier than we're currently predicting. But our latest forecast is upwards of 100 firefighters potentially could do that. So we do need to make sure that's taken account of in our workforce plan, and that we continue to ensure we're able to deliver the service. But we've got recruitment events planned in certainly over the next year and then beyond. So I am fairly confident that we'll be able to respond effectively to any challenge this raises.
Yeah, I suppose it would be just hidden implications of the costs of that. That's quite a massive figure, really, isn't it? Potentially. But like you say, we don't know how many would or would not. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tate. Yeah, good question. Does Councillor Graham want to come in one more time? I just noticed your hand up, Dan. Or is that from previous?
Right, okay.
The question I'd like to bring to your attention is that where the 9% is concerned, and what Alison has said and give a correct answer to, it's the 2% pay, including past service costs. Would the people who retired have to contribute anything towards the costs? Could you hear me, Chair?
No, I didn't catch that too well. Do you want to just try the question, Councillor Graham?
Yes. Would the
Employees past service, where the 2% cost for the authority is concerned, would the past service employees have to contribute anything where they're concerned? The 2% that's going to cost us as the contributors from the employer side of point of view.
All right, yeah. Thanks, Councillor. Maybe you just want to clarify the side of this that involves our contributions as employers to this, and how our contributions. What's the likely figure on our contributions to these sums of money?
the backdating of the employer contributions, we would expect to be, as Alison has said in the report, in the region of around about £10 million. In addition to that, there will be additional contributions for the employee as well. Due to the nature of the schemes, there are differing contributions between the 1992 scheme and the 2015 scheme. Now, that will be part of the arrangement for the individual to buy back that service, that they would have to pay back the difference in contributions.
So therefore, Chair, the answer being given, buy back contributions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody. I don't see any more questions, so it's been moved and seconded. Unless anybody's got anything else to say, I think, like I said, we accept the responses within those 24 questions. Yes, the mood here is to request the government to foot the 100% bill of this from beginning to end, and we accept the DCU, I suppose, DCU model on this as well. And with that, I will thank everybody for being here. Is that okay, Ian? Is that okay, Claire?
Yes,
thank you.
Yeah, okay. And we look forward to hearing what comes back after those consultation responses are being fed in. I'd be interested to see what the next step to this saga is. So thanks, everybody. I'll let you move on to your next meeting. This meeting is now closed.